Good Friday morning, everybody. USA forecaster JD Rapp with you in the Breaking Weather Center today, just to give you just a quick update on our winter weather side and that low end threat of severe weather. We have winter storm warnings up to the north. We still got winter storm watches, winter weather advisories are in place. This covers mostly some areas today are in a winter storm warning. But first of all, while we're on here, I'm going to take a look at the severe weather side of things, is because this is what then we'll look at the winter weather. All right, here's our low end threat for severe thunderstorms today. We'll take a look at this one little time. The 10:30 update. It keeps here's our tornado risk is way down by Louisiana and Texas. There's a low wind threat of maybe even an isolated tornado down there. We'll have to watch that also. And damage and winds are also about 5%. That's what we're concerned about yesterday. But hail is like very little. Maybe even a brief tornado is not out of the question. So now, since we got that out of control, out of the way, we'll look at the winter weather advisory. Now, this goes in effect into 6 p.m. this evening through 6 p.m. Saturday. We can see snowfall totals up to 2 to 5 inches, with a few higher amounts are possible. So remember, winter weather advisory means that we could get very, very, very heavy snow. Hi, Mom. How you doing? So when you see winter weather advisory, that means you could get some very heavy snow, sleet, or freezing rain. This one looks like more of a snowmaker, as also it comes in. Looks like more of a snow, maybe heavy at times over there, and the possibility of some very, heavy precipitation. So let's go back to that, and a couple of these are hitting here. Here's our winter storm warning, and right now this is in effect, and this area could receive, let's see, winter storm warning up to 4 to 9 inches of snow with a light glaze and a freezing rain. So the main issue I'm concerned with, but we could see some very heavy snowfall totals with this up towards Michigan, where we could see snowfall up to about 9 inches. So that is very heavy. We could have some very slick travel conditions up there towards Michigan, where we could end up with a light glaze and ice. I don't think this is going to be no ice storm or anything like that, or we'll lose power, but there are going to be some gusty winds with that. So you definitely want to make sure you have a weather radio. That always comes in handy with me. Some way to receive some warnings in case you lose power from this. Um, like I said, we would always want you have to have a weather radio in handy. By the way, it actually gets some gusty winds with that. Rain's going to change over to heavy snowfall. Now, this is going to be rain at first, then it'll turn to heavy snow. That's the problem, but we have a lot of times when we get winter storms, if you get, and see, we do have that winter storm watch goes through and we can see over 5 to 10 inches of snowfall up here. So we could get some more upgrades. I'm expecting more winter storm warnings to be issued with this, and that's why we're continuing to keep you updated on this. So you definitely want to make sure you're staying tuned to the weather. So we got that. Winter storm warnings continue, winter storm watches, but we'll go back to one of my tools again and look at weather. Now, here on just a second, I'm going to take it to one of my couple tools that me and my team use on forecasting storms and stuff like that. And we'll get on like that. So hold on a second. We want to look at the jet streak. This is how you get severe weather multiple times. Not always, but a jet streak always gets you going. And trying to pull up some things here, so just give me a few seconds. I'm trying to look, see how I get this pulled up. All right, let's see. That's the one I don't look at, but I can't because it worked good. All right, this is the one I'm going to show you here. Severe weather. We'll look at free kilometer. Now, this is where you get your mostly severe weather is a free kilometer, and definitely want to keep that in mind. So here we go here. So this is the free kilometer. This is if you can get turning. If you don't have turning, you can't get tornadoes a lot. So here we go here today. And we do have a small risk of tornadoes today. So we'll go through today. And yeah, goodness gracious. Are you kidding me? Now we're using almost up to 400. So that is plenty to get a few storms turning today. Turning is what's going to be the problem to get tornadoes. So yeah, if you got this pink color and we get into Mephistius, that is enough storms to get things turning. I hope everybody can hear me on my microphone right now. So this is enough storms to get things turning. This is later this afternoon. This is free kilometer, and yeah, goodness gracious. Yeah, you're starting to get some potentially up to now almost 400. So even like I said, everybody you know this one. 400, even 100 joules per teragram can actually get storms turning. You don't even have to have 500. You can get 100 joules to get things turning a lot. This is where we get the potentially of seeing some rotating thunderstorms later this afternoon, and that's what's going to happen with this whole system here. So expect a couple tornado warnings, and that jet streak will fly away quickly. So that'll be one thing we have. Let's look at 1 kilometer. Now, this is just tells me a look if we can get some more storms turning. And here we are this afternoon. Here's one of our tools, and yep, we got a little bit up close to over 200. So yeah, that's still a potentially we could see a couple storms that could rotate today into a couple tornadoes, and we'll do. We want to do all this while we're on here today. Here's some other models that I look at when I'm forecasting tornadoes and all kind of stuff. Let's look at the HERB model. Now this is the best model that comes up with all kinds of stuff, and this will determine if we have storms to work with today. And here we are. I'll pull up the significant tornado parameters. This is if you can get an EF5, EF2, EF1 tornado going in other things like that. And yeah, starting to see maybe at least a 1. So yeah, that's significant. Anything over a 1 though is significant. So you definitely want to pay attention. And starting to get some for this evening, for 10 p.m. this evening, and how to push on. And that's one thing we do have. So now we'll look at supercell composite. This is what it drops your tornadoes most of the time. Not always, but it's always the thing we use around here. And here's at 1 p.m. today, 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m., and you're starting to get, just the low numbers. So I will expect a few outbreak of severe weather, maybe a few warnings to be issued. And here's an updraft heuristicity where we get storms to turn a few times today. All right, let's see. I hit the wrong button. Sorry about that, guys. All right, we'll pull up here. Isaac's going to be joining us in a few minutes, so he'll be coming on. He'll be getting advisories. He's going to help us out today. He's going to help me out with some things today. If we get any severe weather advisories, especially any tornado warnings, he'll help us out today. All right. Pull up my tools. So significant tornado, like I said, so the best thing to do is today just have a way to receive warnings. This is not looking like a tornado outbreak. I just think there'll be one or two warnings, and some of these models are just hitting it. So we would have to see what happens. So just be aware of the changing weather conditions. We'll be here through the afternoon tracking it. I'm going to stay on for a little bit until Isaac kind of jumps on and do some talk. But all right, sorry about that, guys. My computer screen got kicked off. So let me go back to mine and pull up the SPC. It just happens sometimes. All right, share screen. Back. All right, if anybody lives in this Popal area, that would indicate some potentially winter weather. Winter storm warnings continue up there. We do even got a winter storm watch up there towards Massachusetts too. So you definitely, heavy rainfall is going to be the first thing we have. Then you'll have snowfall. So definitely make sure you have, check on other people. Make sure they're doing okay from this. I even checked numbers before I even went to bed last night, and it even showed we could even get none of the snow is going to go nowhere when this whole thing passes through. So right now we're still waiting on Isaac to jump on. Oh, second. Still going. It still looks like that. All right, still that winter weather. So bottom line is we're continuing to watch this, and now I'm going to put things on mute till he jumps on. All right. Can you hear me, Isaac?
Yes. I see you have some information from the Weather Service Quad Cities there. Yeah, 1 second while I pull up some additional information here.
Yeah. You see my microphone. Can you still hear me?
Yeah. So we have
Thank
quite
you.
a bit of winter weather advisories across the board from sections of the Central Plains, parts of Nebraska. I think the southern flank of this, we have of this disturbance here. They're talking about still some accumulating snowfall potential as far south as the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas as well, saying at least 3 to 5 inches, probably stretching down towards northern parts of the panhandle of Texas, even. So, I mean, that goes to show how broad scale this potential disturbance will make through. And we got gale warnings, small craft advisories. It looks like. Oh yeah, gale warnings. Lakeshore flood headlines all across Michigan as well. So, I mean, just given that this is going to be a fairly snowy and windy disturbance, as well as we get some advection. I think the temperatures may not be below freezing at the surface everywhere. You see where all these advisories and warnings and everything. And we're going to pay attention a little bit to parts of central and northern sections of the lower Michigan. So, I mean, up towards parts of southwest into north central Michigan, just adjacent to the Lake Michigan there, and even towards Lake Huron there. We're definitely seeing some winter storm watches still. I think they'll be upgraded to warnings at some point during the afternoon. Obviously, just talking timing, obviously we have I'm going to look at the national radar loop. From what I'm seeing on here, obviously we have a good deal of precip already stretching from East Texas to parts of the middle Mississippi Valley. A lot of this in the form of rain. We probably got some snow on the backside in parts of Nebraska, eastern Nebraska, parts of western Iowa, it looks like. I got to see what the official surface observations are. But by the look of it, the temperatures are in the 30s and 40s across sections of northwest Illinois near the river. And obviously, along the back end of this, obviously we have recessing heights or along that trough. So, I mean, some of that colder air is kind of slowly sinking towards the surface as we get closer to that low on the backside. So that's where the temperatures are definitely dropping. Parts of Iowa and Nebraska, that'll slowly make its that shot of cold air will slowly make its way into definitely sections of the state line region of, let's say, parts of southern Wisconsin into Michigan as well. And what I'm seeing there, the winter weather advisories across southern Wisconsin start at 6 p.m. But we're paying close attention to areas east of Lake Michigan as well, because we're definitely looking at a sharp cutoff in terms of amounts. And I'm just checking thermodynamic profiles, what we have going on. I think we got a little bit of warm air lifting north. So, I mean, or trailing north before much colder and snowy conditions impact parts of Michigan as well. So
tell everybody about the severe weather side too. We have.
Oops. Yeah. So obviously we have a more targeted area for the marginal risk for severe storms. Looks like we got a little bit of a line of storms going already, and And yeah, now that we have a little bit of a concern just right along the Gulf of Mexico there in southeast Texas, we have sufficient profiles I'm seeing on here for not only damaging winds, but a brief tornado probably as well. So, I mean,
Yeah, I'm not going to rule that out either.
New outlook. And as storms continue to make their way across parts of East Texas, the southern flank of that, we're starting to see a little bit of convective development off the Gulf of Mexico, not surface based or anything yet. But as we get a little bit of convergence with that line that'll form, I believe we get a little bit of surface based heating as well, probably as well, on along this whole line altogether. And then I think the mixed layer, that's where the instability is definitely the highest. So, I mean, that will kind of give way to some downdrafts. I mean, there's not really going to be much targeted upscale development that I've been seeing as like originally we were talking that marginal threat of severe weather stretching all the way into sections of Arkansas. But now we have a little bit more consensus, with the overall, look at the 500 millibar map. I believe there's a more southerly track, but also this is a very narrow, what do you call it here? When I'm checking out I'm just clicking onto the 500 millibar map, see what the morning guidance does suggest. That trough is going to dig down. We have a little bit of a shortwave in there. If I'm like, this is at 500 millibars. We can see where the heights, where the heights kind of drop. Oh, what JD's pulling up here? I'm gonna go full screen there. That is the 0 to 3 kilometer. Yeah, so you kind of highlighted an area, or that's the marginal risk area. Now that is 0 to 3 kilometer. You could ideally look at, what I look at when I use the HREF ensembles. This is a compilation of some more short-term model guidance that compiles into this ensemble. Obviously, it's a little bit of model output. We don't know exactly what the situation's going to look like, but if you just looking at just as we do have a little bit of an idea across parts of Texas for sure, there's a little bit of spin in the atmosphere. What we would want to pay attention to is how we get surface-based heating during the peak daytime heating hours, and that will kind of be contingent on whether we do see a localized tornado setup across parts of southeast Texas. But just broad scale, you can see there's more spin in the atmosphere just heading within 3 kilometers to the surface there, across the southern flank of that. And you can see as we head to the backside, there's a little bit more vorticity along that. So that's obviously upper level of vorticity near the center of that low. And obviously what we're talking about there, that moisture is advecting onto the backside. That's kind of one of the big sources of moisture, and we can see kind of that lake effect reinforcement as well as that activity pushes into Michigan. We believe there's also going to be a sharp cutoff in total. So there's probably counties that have winter storm warnings. The county just south of there, probably you won't see much at all. Maybe a couple inches nuisance. But just north of there, parts of central Michigan, you're probably going to be talking about between 5 building up to locally 10 inches in some spots. So I just read impact to travel, commerce, whatnot. Definitely moderate. So definitely be careful if you have to travel across parts of these areas. A couple of inches stretching into northern Iowa and southern Wisconsin as well. So we're going to pay attention to that.
Well, you definitely, the two common things is slow down, lose your headlights, and just be careful out there. If you can make it, if you just slow down, right, Isaac?
Yeah, sure. As long as you're being careful, watching for snow plows, and definitely being careful if you're in a high-profile vehicle or whatnot. It's definitely good to be careful. I mean, we're also talking gusty winds. This is going to be a wet, compact
Mm-hmm.
snowfall as well in some areas because you have the moisture advecting in from the south. It's going to make a more wet nature for the snow. So it's going to be quite compact, maybe a little sturdy. So it's going to be hard to shovel too. So definitely want to
Yeah.
be
So
careful.
one thing is I'm going to put out. Yeah, I'm going to put this out too. Even the gusty winds you get, you could have isolated power outages due to the gusty winds. Do you think that would be a concern
Yeah.
too?
So definitely, if we get snow falling on like and even a light glaze of ice that falls onto tree branches, whatnot, um, some spots could be dealing with localized power disruptions and whatnot as well. So we're just gonna
We
have
always
to.
tell you, and we always say, me and Isaac always tell everybody, just have your devices. A crank weather radio would be fine. A flashlight. Make sure your generators are charged up, and just in case you lose power.
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah. So you definitely be careful as well. I mean, if you're using a generator, make sure it's properly ventilated. I mean, make sure if it's portable and whatnot. I mean, definitely some tertiary and rural areas will probably be seeing most of the power disruptions. Um, and
This is
yeah,
not going to be
so
no ice storm or anything like that. It's just going to be where we could get some gusty winds and just use some common sense. I mean, if you don't think you can make it, stay home, let the storm system pass you, right?
yeah, sure. Um, so again, we do anticipate an onset there late in the evening. We got snow happening across sections of Nebraska and Iowa as well. So that's something that we're going to have to be careful on as well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and
And we
that
will
will
do.
probably make its
We'll
way
have.
into sections of Wisconsin, Illinois, into Michigan tonight. And we do anticipate the heaviest amounts to be northwest of the river as well. And we may be talking another similar
Here's a
type
question.
system next week as well. I mean, it's too early to go into specifics with
Here's a
that, but
question popped up here.
uh-huh. A 30-mile shift south could change this. Yeah, I mean, you could be talking like systems like this. If we get a little bit more colder air that's a little bit closer to the surface, I mean, that could discern between like mostly rain
Yes.
and maybe a little bit of a rain
Mm-hmm.
snow mix because air sinks down. So I mean, the temperature doesn't have to be above, or the temperature doesn't have to be 32 degrees or lower for snow to fall. I mean, sometimes since this is a very heavy moisture profiles with this overall disturbance, even a little bit of a change in temperature or pressure above the
Yeah.
surface would probably significantly impact snowfall totals. So, I mean, don't let your guard down like areas that are just
Don't let your guard down at all.
have no headlines too. So we don't expect like headlines for winter weather that far south. No, like Arkansas, but I mean sections of Michigan, like east of Lake Michigan, just parallel to there. Also sections of overall we have plenty of Gulf moisture to talk about, and then also lake
Yeah, plenty of moisture
enhancement.
to work with.
Yeah, lake effect enhancement. That will likely be the
Yeah,
case
here's another thing
across sections of
that I
Michigan
learned
later
about snow,
today
Isaac.
and tonight. Yeah.
I learned more about a little bit more snow. If you could even get snow to stick in 35 degrees or 36, right?
Yeah,
It's coming
definitely.
down heavy, right?
So I mean, if you get mostly grassy or elevated surfaces will see the heavier amounts. Obviously, they won't stick to the ground for like several days unless you get a reinforcement of freezing air behind it. But I mean, pavement temperatures and whatnot. I think there's less insulation on pavement, so it'll probably stick on some bridges or elevated surfaces. They'll be slippery, and I mean,
The problem is, here's another problem, but we do have out there. We do have, well, the rain's already falling right now. And later on, each time that rain falls, the salt is going to wash off on the roads where it's the when we really need the salt, it's not going to work, right?
Well, if salt has to do with ice. So I mean, normally they treat roadways, and you get falling temperatures. If you get wet roadways, you'll probably start seeing patches of black ice forming where the temperature falls. I mean, so if so, roadways may be slippery. They could be slick. Talking about where the temperatures fall mostly across parts of the upper Midwest. And I mean, the Great Lakes, you'll see a sudden onset of snowfall with some rain. But I mean, just talking about where that front continues to push through and where the surface temperatures do fall rapidly, something to be mindful of.
Yeah, so it's one of these snow systems. I don't think will be snowed in forever, but definitely, I mean, I looked at my phone last night and looked at some weather guidance last night, Isaac, and it shows after we get through this system up here towards Michigan and some places, we will even see we'll see highs in the 20s. Is that true, you think?
Yeah, right behind this. I mean, we're talking fairly warm conditions right now across like the Illinois Valley and whatnot. And over the next couple of days, we definitely expect quite a bit of a cool down. I mean, lows definitely in the low 20s, even colder. I mean, locally here in Peoria land, we're expecting highs in the middle 30s, maybe lower 30s for a time. But I mean, sections just northwest of there towards west of the Mississippi River and whatnot, outlying areas that are currently seeing rain across like Iowa, Nebraska and whatnot, you could be talking highs below freezing some of these next several days out. So I mean, any roadways that are treated, they'll be you'll probably still marginally see a couple spots of ice. They'll be still somewhat slippery. So it's still something to be prudent about.
Yeah, and there is another snow event coming after this one. Am I correct?
Well, yeah, we've been talking about it with Storm Community a little bit. I think we have some potential guidance looking at next week. We could have a little bit more of we could have another wave kind of pushing through. Obviously, this is like GFS guidance that we've been checking in with. Obviously, this is still guidance coming from, but yeah, I mean, potential middle next week, we could see another similar snow event. Parts of the upper Midwest, we'll have to be, we'll have to be advised of. I mean, probably not this far south. No.
Like I said, this shouldn't be a ice storm or anything like that. So we definitely should be happy that we're not about to see a bunch of freezing rain. So how we want to do the rest of the afternoon? Or we want to do cut it updates on this, Isaac, or how we want to do it so we can tell the people on here?
I mean, I don't really expect any sort of feed activation until at the earliest. If it does happen, I don't expect feed activation until about, I mean, probably tomorrow morning, maybe earlier. We'll see when the height of this happens. It could be later tonight as well. I mean, it could be a very quick. It'll be very quickly moving across, where we have the lake effect enhancement. It could be later tonight, but I don't think it's really a given that we'll be in there. speed status right now.
What about the severe weather side?
I mean, we'll probably see some localized impacts across parts of southeast Texas, parts of Louisiana. During the height of the afternoon, peak daytime heating hours, that's when we generally see the most of it. I think the latest guidance suggests a brunt of this will happen. Obviously, the probability of severe storm is low. Isolated storm or two may produce damaging winds at times. This will likely be this afternoon into early tonight. So definitely be abreast of changing conditions.
Yeah, I mean, if you go under a tornado warning, you know the drill. Take sheep shelter in the basement, small 2-room. If you go under a severe thunderstorm warning, just move indoors and let the storm pass. Because even you don't see a tornado, Isaac, you can get some straight line winds anytime you have an event like this, right?
Yeah, sure. So we will look into conditions heading into tonight and monitor for the possible more in-depth coverage, or feed coverage. But we will look into that and relay any new developments as we get them. This is USASWN.
Right now,
what?
I'm forecaster JD Rapp. I'm with Isaac Shop today. We'll continue to keep you updated on severe weather and the other warnings that come in.
Okay.